All right, everybody. So welcome to week 5 of HCAS143. For this week, we are covering just the endocrine system. So this is a bit of a lighter week in terms of readings and things like that. So if you are missing any assignments up to this point, this is the perfect time to complete those and get those turned in so that you can get caught back up in the course. So for this week, we're reading chapter 4 from the EHDC text and UP chapters 21 and 22. We have our lecture like always, the optional guided notes that can be very helpful. And then we have our discussion. As always, I like to remind everybody, you make your initial post, picking your 2 conditions, and then you're going to want to do your substantial replies and your 3 different days of participation during week 5 to receive credit for those 2 things. Then we have 2 different items this week that are tests, case studies, whatever we want to call them. And that's the medication list case study and an endocrine test. So medication list case study down here in week 5, you'll see again, you get 2 attempts, highest grades kept. This is primarily going to focus on, like it says, medication information. And then we have our endocrine test. This is, and again, I don't know why the instructional design team named it this way, but this is functionally an endocrine case study. We have 2 different patient scenarios in this one, and it's important to read through it, to read through the scenario, see the lab values, see the symptoms, and then give responses to the questions that are asked. Okay, so this test normally catches people off guard because there's a lot of little details in both of these scenarios that are needed to answer pretty much every question. But at the same time, don't overthink your answers because the answers are not trying to trick you. We're not trying to trick you at all. Students, for whatever reason, start to overthink what's being asked because the initial answer that you think of tends to be very straightforward. And the truth is the correct answer is very straightforward, right? But it's an important concept for the conditions that are asked about in these patient case scenarios. They're very straightforward concepts. Like I promise you, they're very, we're not trying to trick you. At this point in the course, students are like, oh my, we've had, this class has been tough. And, the answer to this question can't be that easy, but some of them are because, again, they're overarching concepts that as a coder, are things that would be important for you to essentially have drilled into your head about these conditions. So we need to reinforce those concepts, which is why we test on them. Not every question is going to require a super detailed answer, especially if the question is asking you something that, the answer is not incredibly detailed and whatnot. So, endocrine diseases tend to, especially the common ones, they tend to lend themselves to very straightforward answers. We'll put it that way. Okay. So, again, that's everything for week 5. You have your folder with your guided notes and your lectures. As a reminder, download the doc file with the lecture, even if you're not going to use the doc file and you're going to stick with the linked RISE lectures. Download that doc file and keep it for future studying. That's everything I have for week 5. So if you have any questions, like always, send me an email, message me on Teams, message me on Blackboard, etc., etc., etc. There's, at this point, almost a dozen ways that you guys can get in touch with me, okay?